Hi, today we're going to talk about why some domainers succeed while others fail. And we'll go over some of the reasons for failure, and I'll try to give you some ways to turn those failures into successes. A lot of domainers fail because they think their domains are much more valuable than the offers that they receive, or if they get no offers, they just think they're more valuable than they actually are. I've been brokering, well, not really brokering, but how I broker domains. Basically, I get a lead from a customer who's interested in buying a domain name. The domainer sends me over the lead, and then I go ahead and I get the price higher for them, so they get more money for the domain name because, well, to put it frank, my negotiation skills are pretty damn good. But lately I've noticed a trend of I can go out and I can get like a 50 or 100 or 200 or even a 300-year multiple on the revenue of that domain name, and it's not a good domain name, yet the domainer decides they still don't want to sell. Well, I'm not going to be around for 300 years, so I don't know what makes them think they're going to be around for 300 years. So that they just that's part of the problem is they think their domains are more valuable than they actually are, and sometimes they get good offers, but the other thing is they don't know how or when to sell. Knowing when to sell is as important as it is knowing when to buy, probably more so. So you need to make sure that you know when to sell, and when to sell is when you get a good multiple on domain name that you have no development plans for, it has no generic or intrinsic value, is not making any money, and you get at least a 15 to 20 to 25-year multiple on it, you should consider selling that domain name and putting it into something, the money, into something that you'll actually be able to get a return on much quicker. So that's that they don't know how to sell and they don't know when to sell. So the other thing is that they don't know when and what to drop. And it's important to know that if you haven't had any offers on a domain name, it doesn't make any money. You're not going to develop it. There's no point in keeping it. If it's not a cute little term or a generic term or something, you need to drop it. So again, the other reason that they fail is they don't know when to drop, but they need to learn when to drop. And one of the most important reasons why domainers fail is they don't read enough before buying, and now all they have in their portfolio is junk. I can't tell you how many people send me their portfolios to look at. I take time out of my busy day to look at it, and I'm lucky if I can find one good domain in a batch of 1,000 or 500. But they all think they're great. But the bottom line is, a good measuring stick is if you've got 500, 1,000 domain names, or 200 domain names, and you've never received any offers on any of those domain names, probably they're all junk, or you're really, really unlucky. But generally, from what I've seen, is that they're all junk. So you need to know when to buy, what to buy, and the key thing is to do a lot of reading. So check out dnforum.com, check out some of the other blogs that are out there, check out other forums if you want to. But the main thing is do a lot of reading before you go out and you buy into all the hype that's out there, and you end up buying a whole bunch of stupid domain names that are going to be completely useless, and your cash flow is going to be next to nothing because you're not going to sell any ever. So don't fall for the registrar land cash grabs of their things that they like to do with their new TLDs and CCTLDs and all that other crap. CCTLDs are much more valuable than the .tels, the .mobis, the .xxs, even the .cos. And the only reason the .cos are doing as well as they were is because GoDaddy did a big advertising campaign on them. But they're also they're good typo domains, but nothing more than that. So don't believe all the hype about how great all these new, I guess, domains are going to be. .green, .pets, .family. Again, some of them may be good if they're cute, but most of them are just going to be register cash grabs, and the only winners are going to be the registrars. And I go back to what I've said many times before in many videos, is that the only people that got rich during the gold rush were the people selling the picks and shovels, not the gold miners. Well, you're the gold miners if you're registering domain names, and the registrars are selling picks and shovels. And they're selling the picks and shovels knowing you're not going to find a whole lot of gold. So don't fall for that. Don't register a whole bunch of useless domain names, and don't fall for all the new TLDs coming out. and all that stuff. If you find a few that are good or brandable, that's a different story. Then they'll have some value, and then I'd say go for it. But don't start your portfolio out by registering a whole bunch of, I don't know what, .adult or .xxx or .tel or .mobi or .info. I mean, there's tons of them. Even .info is more valuable than some of those because you can do things like lupus.info or whatever else there is. So that's some of the reasons. I'll give you a few more. They want others to do all the work for them. Yeah, this is another big problem I get. They ask me if I'm interested in brokering domains for them, and they don't want to do any work. I mean, I don't know any job where you don't do any work and you get paid for it and you benefit and you do well. So don't push your work off on other people. Do the work yourself. Do the legwork. Find the buyers. So if you've got a domain name, I'll give you an example, abcd.com, and you want to sell it. Go look at who's got abc.net or biz and anything other ccTLD there is. Go look who's buying abcd as their keyword and get a hold of those people. But don't think you're going to pass it off to a broker and they're going to do all the work for you, because it's just not the way it is. You're going to have to put in some hard work to be successful in this business. And I guarantee you that everybody that is successful in this business knows that, and they know there's no easy way to success in any business, and domains are no different. The other thing that domainers think is if they get a domain in a newsletter, it's going to sell, and it's going to sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. It simply won't. Getting your name in a newsletter gives you a little bit of exposure for a short period of time, but again, you need to do the work to find the right buyer, because that exposure is only going out to domainers. So all those newsletters that you see that are out there, they're great, they're fun to read, the domains are interesting in there, they're usually well overpriced, and basically people just look through them quickly, glance at them, and chuck them in their junk bin. So make sure that you take a good look at what you're doing and what your strategies are. Also, don't trust too easily. I've heard a lot of scams lately of people trusting people to develop websites for them, giving them $2,000-3,000 to in advance to do the website, and the person disappears. There was something on Michael's blog on Domain Sherpa about a gentleman who took about 6 to 8 people's money and disappeared. If you Google scams and things like that on websites, you'll find all kinds of them. My tip to you on website design is very simple. Set milestones and only pay when those milestones are done. And that includes sites like Elance, Freelance Insider, Scriptlance, whatever Lance, any kind of Lance. And make sure that any kind of company, even with me, if you're dealing with me at niche websites or dcg.com, I only take 50% up front, and then I set a milestone. And when you're happy with the site and it's complete, then you pay the other 50%. So don't pay 100% in advance ahead of time. Make sure that you set milestones. With people I know that I'm dealing with, I have a guy that I use I know I can't trust very much, so I have to set milestones at 25%, 50%, 75%, and 100% just to keep the guy honest, so I know that I'll get the work done. Make sure you don't trust too easily, or you're going to get ripped off. And if you're going to get ripped off, you're not going to have money for renewals. So make sure you don't get ripped off. Now, the other issue is don't market your domain names just to domainers, because domainers aren't who you want to sell your domains to. You want to sell them to end users. So again, go out there and find the end users. So for example, if I want to sell Kitchener.com, I can take an ad out in Kitchener's largest newspaper and say, hey, get your email addresses at Kitchener.com, or buy Kitchener.com and be known as the only company at Kitchener.com, and do something like that. But don't market your domains to domainers unless you're just looking for quick flips. And if you are, well, that's okay too. Then just get the quick flips. A lot of domainers think that domaining is like the lottery. It's a get-rich-quick scheme. And it's not. It's slow and it's painful. It's not something, and nobody got rich overnight by buying a domain name. Not the shillings, not anybody. It took a lot of time, and it took years for them to actually get money to cash out. So don't think you're going to come in and invest your last $2, $3, $4, $5,000, and within 3 months you're going to have an offer for $1 million or $300,000 on one of your domain names, because that just doesn't happen. It happens once in a while if you're really lucky, but generally that's not the rule. Read, learn, and educate yourself. Don't associate yourself with the wrong people. I mean, make sure that you hang around with people that are not necessarily successful, although hanging around with successful people is much better than hanging around with unsuccessful people. But if you look in low-end places for a mate, you're going to find a low-end mate. If you go to a fancy restaurant or a club, you'll meet a higher class mate. It's the same thing in domains. Hang around those people that you know are successful, get advice from those people that you know are successful, and follow their leads and do what they do and listen to them, because there's a lot of good people out there that know what they're doing, and there's also a lot of good people out there that talk a lot but can't actually get anything done and have never sold a domain name for a lot of money, although they claim to. So make sure you get your facts straight, make sure you find a mentor, make sure you follow what that mentor says, and continue to read. Read and learn. I spend an hour at least every day reading and learning. Today I'm trying to figure out a way to learn some new plugins for WordPress and find some plugins to match a specific type of site I'm trying to build out. So every day spend time learning and reading. You can never learn or read too much, and that's the one thing I love about this business is every day I learn something new. If I don't learn something new, then I'll die of boredom. So learn something new. All right, and then the other issue with it, there's a couple other issues, but one is that you guys don't develop for some reason. You just sit around waiting for parking revenue to go to zero. Develop your high traffic but low earning domains now. So don't wait around. Don't wait till the revenue drops to zero. Develop them out now. Even 1, 2, 3, 4 sites, whatever you can afford to do. A developed site always sells for more than a domain name. So if you develop out a site, I mean, it could cost you as little as $3.99, and then go sell it on Flipper somewhere for $1,000, $1,500, whatever, once it's ranked. You'll get 4 or 5 times at least what you paid into it, and you'll have actually earned some revenue rather than waiting for your parking revenue to hit zero. The other thing is you don't watch enough of my videos, so watch my videos. I thought I'd sneak that in there. That's a good portion of information for now. Go to theartofthename.com if you're not already there. On the right-hand top bar where it says add me to newsletter, enter your email address so that you'll get an email every time I put out a new video. And that way you'll be constantly updated and you'll know what's going on and you'll be in the know. So let's go back and summarize. Why do some domainers succeed while others fail? Now, the main reason, there's a few main reasons, and one is the ones that are successful put in hard work and they never stop. There's a few other things that domainers do. Once they find a successful business idea and it makes money, then they just concentrate on that one idea and they forget about everything else. That's good for a little while, but that's putting your eggs in one basket. When that idea starts to die, you're left with no eggs but an empty basket. So try to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as many business ideas as you can up and running that are profitable. You may have noticed that some domainers have walked away from the industry, and that's because they found the secret sauce. And the secret sauce is very simple. Like I said, build up 1, 2, or 3 or 4 different businesses so you have many eggs in many different baskets so that you're prepared for the future, and diversify. So if you are making some good money for a change on some industry that you've picked, then make sure you take some of that money, invest it in the bank, or you invest it in land, or invest it in something else. Every time you sell a domain for $1,000, go out and buy an ounce or a 16-ounce bar of silver and put it aside. If you sell a domain name for $10,000 or higher, go out and buy 1 ounce of gold and put it aside. Do something to diversify, because the price of gold, from what I hear, with all the gold in the world, if we stuck it in it would only fit into 2 Olympic-sized swimming pools. So not a lot of gold in the world. That's probably why it's around $1,800 an ounce right now. And when I was a kid and I thought my dad was silly for buying it, I think it was about $280 an ounce. Anyway, so that's quite a bit. Learn how to succeed, get organized. The other thing that you need to do, which I do every day, is organize your day so that you concentrate on the stuff that earns you revenue first. Get that stuff done, and then concentrate on all the little crap that you want to get done for yourself or for other people that doesn't make any money. So do the revenue affecting stuff first, concentrate on it that way, and prioritize, and then you're bound to be successful. Use your time wisely, and read every day. Teach yourself a new program, start to develop out your sites, and turn that list of 100 or 200 or 500 names with no phone calls and no emails into a list of 200 to 500 names where you're starting to get offers and you're starting to get excited about it, because there's nothing better than waking up in the morning and seeing an order in your inbox and knowing you made money while you slept. think outside the box. Don't think the same as every other domainer in the world. Otherwise, you're going to be in the same boat as every other domainer. It's just like parking. Out of 100% of your names, probably less than 5% earn 95% of the revenue. So same thing with successful people. Out of 100%, less than 5% are probably successful and doing really well, while 95% are struggling and will be forced back to their full-time jobs if they don't learn, read, and follow instructions. But do not, I can't encourage you enough, do not just go out there, not read, invest in a whole bunch of crappy domains, because at the end of the day, all you're going to have is a whole bunch of crappy domain names. Anyway, that's enough for now. Have a good day, and we'll see you tomorrow.